The truth is, magazines are full of sex because sex appeals to us. If we weren't interested in it, we wouldn't buy the magazines. But what if you're not wired like everyone else? What if you just don't want sex?
Carrie is 19 years old and has never had sex. This choice wasn't made through religious beliefs or because she's waiting for the perfect partner. She's just not interested and feels she probably never will be.
It's hard to imagine what would push me to having sex.
I've tried sex, but it's not something I'm just urged to do.
We did other things. We watch out for each other. We were affectionate with each other. You care for each other.
I don't really see any difference between our relationship and other people's relationships, except, we don't have sex.
Carrie is part of a growing online community of people who call themselves asexual, commonly defined as someone who is not sexually attracted to men or women.
Asexuality is a spectrum, so, there's people that are willing to compromise or not, and everybody's different.
I kind of see myself as a grey asexual or a demi-asexual. I could have a sexual relation with someone I really love and hold closely, but not with, let's say, a random, no matter how attractive they may be or how... I think it just needs that emotional bond.
Just after moving to San Francisco, Adam discovered Avon.
That's when I realized that there are other people who aren't having sex and it's not weird and it's not freaky.
Avon was created by David J., now 24 and working at a nonprofit in San Francisco. David was 15 when he realized he had no interest in sex.
I first started calling myself asexual when I was 16, but at the time I didn't realize that that was actually a legitimate orientation, so it was really more of a joke. I didn't date, I wasn't interested in dating, and I wasn't really interested in sex. It just kind of remained a curiosity.
I really enjoy kissing and I enjoy making out and I enjoy cuddling and all that, but my entire body just revolts as soon as it gets too sexual.
I thought I was the only one in the world. I had just kind of settled into the rut that I was different and decided to do the best I could with it.
It wasn't until I was 19 that I found Avon and I found out that there were a lot more people like me.
Any given week, I will have a dozen emails from people just saying, wow, I didn't know this community existed. I didn't know that it was okay to think about myself this way.
Some people find the concept of asexuality incredibly difficult to grasp. They don't understand how you can be human and not want sex.
The comments that most asexuals come up against when they mention they're asexual is, is it because of religious reason? Is it because you've had a bad leg? You obviously don't know what you're missing out on because you haven't had sex before, or it's basically comes down to, well, you must have had traumatic experience as a kid. Heterosexual and homosexuals are both have a gender they're not interested in. It stands to say that asexuals can be interested in either gender.
Maybe you should get hypnosis and see if there is
I've been to counselling for it. I was suggested by a doctor to go to a counsellor and talk about it. And there's nothing in my past that I can peg to being able to cause a phobia of it.
I think it's important for me and my family and close friends may not be comfortable with sort of me, labelling myself as asexual without some sort of medical check, just in case.
So really, that's a great set of bloods, and everything seems to be working perfectly all right,
okay.
which is great news. And I think there's probably a wide spectrum, isn't there? I don't think you sort of get put in a basket, right? You're asexual and you're homosexual, or you're heterosexual, or you're oversexed, or whatever. I think there's a sort of graduation, isn't there?
Asexuals did not have a high level of inhibition, so it's not as though they're scared of sex or have had terrible experiences with sex. It's more just they don't have the drive.
A lot of people still think that asexuality is for amoeba and things like that, which is really sad, but it makes it also very difficult to come out as asexual when people are going to compare you to, a single-cell organism or whatever.
Maybe it is just finding the right person that you feel completely comfortable with.
I felt completely comfortable with both of my boyfriends.
Sometimes I wish I could just be normal.
Yeah.
I really do. And I tried so hard. And
did you sacrifice your happiness to force yourself to be normal?
I think the worst thing about being asexual is if you're trying to find a partner, unless you're prepared to compromise and you're indifferent to sex, then finding another asexual was really, really difficult, and like looking for a purple fish in a big ocean full of silverfish, basically.
For every relationship you have your romantic relationships and you have your platonic relationships. Now, maybe sex for a lot of people is that huge component to what that differentiates the two.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remove sex from the equation, you're still inherently going to feel differently about somebody that you're romantically attracted to.
We do have different views on sex. Obviously, Kaylee's sexual and I'm asexual, so that's the biggest difference. I guess we're very lucky because neither is Kaylee a nymphomaniac than I am repulsed with sex. So there is some place where I'm about here on the spectrum and Kaylee would be about here, and we're both willing to compromise on some level, and we do meet up on a lot of that. And it's just mutual respect and honesty and openness with each other that gets us to where we are.
We find it amusing a lot that people have a hard time seeing the difference between, say, my relationship with Winter and my other friendships. It's as basic as, you know, the fact that we fell in love. That's what makes it different.
It's really not so different. We just don't have sex.
We do, you know, hold hands, hug, kiss. All of those things for us are just ways of being close and being affectionate.
Sex is not everything. There's plenty of other things that you can do in life. You know, long term, I'm definitely looking for some, you know, settle down. But for me at the moment, you know, I'm not really looking for a relationship.
Really, it's something just quite simple. Some people like sex, some people don't. That's it. It comes down to something as simple as that.
The problem in our culture is that there's a sense that people need sex to be happy, that you need sex to define yourself and to understand yourself and to connect with other people. And everything that's happening in the asexual community disproves that.